Hey guys, good morning. Thank you for taking the time to tune in. This is Obi with LionStrong Elite, and some simple housekeeping, guys. If you would please subscribe to my channel, because as you guys already know, you guys can be anywhere else watching whatever content, but you guys are here. So that means that value, information, and applicable knowledge is what you value the most. So with that said, it is my obligation and my responsibility to you guys, the viewers, to give you guys this information. So with that said, we're gonna get started. So guys, we're gonna talk about a topic that, I mean, just like many on my channel, but I particularly am very adamant and feel very strongly about this. So, and I constantly have to remind people the difference of the two. So guys, what's the difference between working out and just training? Okay, or excuse me, training versus just working out, pardon me. And, it may sound the same. It may sound like they're both equivalent to each other, which they are, but they're different. Because you see, guys, 98% of the population consists of normal people, regular people. And if that's you, that's fine. I have no ill feelings towards you, no shame towards you. And I wish you all the best. But if I'm going to be honest, I don't want you guys to be regular people, to be average people, because average people get average results. Okay, the key, as a high performing man, is to fulfill your potential, be the best you can, so that way you can get the most out of life. Okay, but anyway, this video is mainly towards the high performing men, entrepreneurs, CEOs, the people who have that winning mindset, and the people that don't accept less, they always want more. So considering that you guys have this mentality, it's important that you guys adopt the principles of training. Okay, training is when you go in to your workout sessions and you have a clear goal in mind. See, most people when they go to the gym or they go into a workout, their goal is to break a sweat or to get my body moving. You see, guys, the problem with that is you're setting yourself up just to do the bare minimum. Okay, just that's like how when someone says, well, that guy who's 350 pounds, at least he's in the gym. And every time I've heard that, I've never understood, okay, he's in the gym. You still got to get your butt moving, okay? You still have to put in work. The problem with our society, guys, we have this mindset that the showing up is enough, okay? There's an old saying that coaches growing up who were mentors of mine that always stressed to us. They've always told us that you practice how you play. The way that you practice, that you perform in practice, that's going to carry over into where it counts the most. So that's the big, that's a starking contrast between the working out and the training. Okay, when you train, you are going there to work on. I'm going to use examples from sports. Say in practice today, I'm going to work on like my footwork. I'm going to work on my back pedal. I'm going to work on, getting off the ball. I'm going to work on my free throw. I'm going to work on my 3-point shot. I'm going to work on, shooting off the dribble, coming off of a pick. There is a clear objective of what you're doing. Because when you have a clear objective of what you're doing, you're not just wasting time. You're not doing like to call washing dishes, meaning you're just doing things for the sake of doing them, just to occupy time. See, guys, when I make these YouTube videos, there's an objective behind it. I'm not just on here because I want to be seen or whatever. Guys, you look at my channel, I don't have a whole lot of subscribers. And I think a big reason why is because things that are valuable, information that is important, without all the theatrics and all the things that people put in their videos just to get clicks. Guys, I keep it pretty simple. I'm very direct because I'm all about giving you guys information that not only have I found to be effective, but those who I implement with my clients as well. Because at the end of the day, guys, we care about results on this channel. And if what I'm telling you brings you results, which they do if implemented, that's the objective, okay? But at the end of the day, there's a clear objective. There isn't this, this, this blur as far as what we're not trying to do. There's a clear understanding of I'm going into this practice, I'm going into this workout, with a purpose. And with that said, because you have a clear purpose, things don't take as long. I always talk about how it's important to keep your workouts of shorter duration, shorter time. And that's not for the sake of because, I just came up with some numbers, just 30 minutes. No, anybody who is involved in athletics, anybody who trains with an intensity that gives all they have, they find themselves training at a shorter time. And the reason why is because when you're all about trying to maximize and to make things efficient, you're always going to look for the ways that allows you to do that. And that oftentimes requires an individual to get outside their comfort zone and to do things that put their body and their mind in an uncompromising position, which therefore promotes and incentivizes growth. Okay, so I'm just getting into the nuance as far as the difference between working out and training. As you guys can see, that training, there's a certain mentality you have to employ. You have to have a certain mindset, versus just working out. And also too, with that said, when you train, you are doing certain movements versus just working out. See, when guys work out, they go out for a jog, they run on the treadmill, they do a few push-ups, they take a 5-minute break, they socialize, they're on their, I see this all the time, they're on their phone, they're reading a book, which is crazy to me. Guys, I love reading and socializing just like everyone else. But when you're in the gym, when you're training, guys, okay, you're going to battle. That's like you going to war. Okay? You need to be focused. Okay? If that's you, you're reading a book while you're working out, you're not working out. You're just wasting your time. Guys, the key to training is to making sure that you are 100% focused on the task you're in. This is no different than when you're in a board meeting, when you're having an appointment with clients. You're not over here reading while you're discussing an important, large deal. No, you're focused on what you're doing. You have a clear objective. And the thing is, people who don't have that objective, they find themselves meandering and doing things that don't yield results. So with that said, you want to pick movements that's going to allow you to get the most out of what you're doing. For example, instead of running on the treadmill, I'm going to do some heavy lunges. I'm going to do pull-ups. I'm going to do my rows. I'm going to utilize the equipment that forces me to pay attention, because if I don't, I will injure myself. So lack of a better term, I'm going to focus on strength training, because strength training is the most physically taxing activity, but it's also mentally taxing as well. And you want that. You want things that's going to be stressful on both ends, because it's going to force you to grow. And that's why, guys, I speak so highly of strength training, not just resistance training. The key, guys, when you're training is to get stronger. Because I think that when the body gets stronger, the mind gets stronger. Okay? And then vice versa. When your mind gets stronger, you want to take on more. You want to put yourself through more. And that's the key to progress. So you see, guys, there's all this is, it's not just on the surface, oh, you're just exercising. No, guys, this is why I'm very selective with the words I use, training versus exercise. And also too, guys, if you really think about it, when you tell yourself, oh, I gotta train today, it, like, the word training just puts you in that serious, like, objective minded state. You're on a mission. So this is another example of just when you say certain things, your body tends to, or your mind tends to internalize the message, and you tend to have an attitude towards it. But if you say, I'm just gonna work out, like, it's, everyone does that. Everybody can work out, right? A person who's 400 pounds can work out. But I bet you that guy who's 400 pounds is not gonna train, because it's a mindset, guys. See, guys, as always, as I always preach on this channel, I always try to provide information that's going to keep you guys at the top, right? Keep you in that elite mindset. But in order to be elite at all times, you have to continue to do the things that keep you there. Okay, it's not just talking about it; it's implementing these tactics on a consistent basis. Whether it be, the 10-minute daily morning routines that I always promote. I always think that people every morning should wake up with a sweat. You know, I'm a big proponent of training multiple times a day. You know, I know it sounds crazy, but you know, I'm not saying to train for an hour, you know, twice a day, 3 times a day, but you know, bust out 15 minutes of something high intensity and intense. I mean, anybody who's been training for as long as I have, over 20 years, 21 years, understands that, you know, in my opinion, the best workouts, guys, are the ones that you don't have much time. You have literally 15, 20 minutes. But with that, you can be so creative. So that's another thing. When you have to implement creativity, grit, you have to really grit your teeth and you know, get as much as you can in a short period of time while minimizing rest periods, which makes the environment extremely uncomfortable. That's training, guys. See, guys, with training, there's see, guys, when you train, there needs to always be discomfort in the equation, because with that discomfort, it leads to growth. That's why people plateau in their training. They plateau, and I see this every single time when people say I reached a plateau. I work with them, and I see that, well, that's why you're plateauing, because you're not pushing hard enough. Like, you stop here instead of being here. The key is you want to keep going, and don't let anything stop you until those muscles give out, until you're out of breath. That's how you know you're training. Okay, so more of the story, guys, the key to training versus working out is discomfort. If you're consistently putting yourself in a disadvantageous position where you're uncomfortable, it doesn't feel good in that moment, because it does feel good afterwards, congratulations, you are training. You are doing it right. And if you keep that up, the sky's the limit for you. Okay, so anyway, guys, I just want to leave that message with you guys. Okay, this topic is very important, guys, because I don't think many people understand the difference. So I want to make sure that you guys understand that there's a big difference between just working out and training. They're both different, okay? One is just doing it for the sake of doing it, going through the motions, and one is having a clear objective in mind. No matter how you're feeling, what's going on that day, you're focused on getting better, okay? And becoming more than when you were the moment you walked into that workout, and better than when you were yesterday. Okay? Anyway, guys, Obi with LionStrong Elite. And as always, guys, thank you for watching my video. Check out my shorts. I put a lot of information on there for you guys to consume. And also check out my website, guys, LionStrong Elite. You know, I offer elite fitness and high performance coaching for those high performing men. And with that said, check out my Instagram as well at LionStrong Elite. I'll leave that in the description below. And guys, I'm signing out. You guys have a great Friday. Today's Friday. It is 4:45 in the morning, so hey, you gotta get up before the competition so you can get to work, right? Anyway, guys, hey, have a great day. Stay blessed and stay safe. Bye.